Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam if you're new here, and thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, I thought we could make it a fun one, and as you can tell by the title, this is going to be plants that are on my hit list. And what I mean by that, we're going to be talking about plants that I have murdered, but not only that, plants that I've murdered, maybe intentionally, maybe not, maybe I just really didn't like them and I was kind of tired of dealing with them, so I just let them pass peacefully. I neglected them is what I'm trying to say. And or plants that I will never own again. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Some of these plants that I'm going to be mentioning I do actually own right now, and they're doing great. They're thriving. So I will share those ones with you as we go through our list. And the ones that I have in my home now, I love. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But I probably wouldn't buy more of them, if you know what I mean. Like, I plan on having these plants as long as they want to live in my home, but I probably wouldn't go out and pick up another one. And I've probably had one of them that I have murdered. So I have a list. Just a second because I forgot to grab it. BRB. Just kidding, it's right here. So the first one we're going to start off with is a plant that I seriously dislike very, very much. Like, I hate this plant. And that's going to be crotons, or crotons, however you want to say it. So I had a croton about a little over a year ago. It was my very first and only croton, and if I have pictures of the plants that I've killed still, I will go ahead and insert them on the screen somewhere. But yeah, so I don't even know what variety it was. It's like one of the main ones that you see in store with the big colorful leaves. They're like orange and yellow and red, and they're actually really pretty, and that's why I was drawn to the plant. The plant that I had two in the pot, and I brought them home. I potted them up immediately together, and one of them started going downhill really fast. Well, if you know anything about crotons, you know that they're very fussy and dramatic, or they can be, especially if you move them around. They can drop their leaves, they can wilt their leaves if you put them under any type of stress whatsoever, and that's not hard to do, trust me. So one of the two plants in the pot was wilted and slowly dropping leaves on me. And at the time I didn't know that moving them around stressed them out even more, so I was moving that plant all over the place, just like I even moved it from room to room and put it in my bedroom. I put it on the balcony. That one plant just continued to deteriorate. Basically, it was dying. So I decided to split the two plants up and put the sad plant in its own pot, put the other plant back where it was setting at the time. The sad plant continued to die. I think it lost down to like one leaf and I threw it out, and then the other one followed behind not long after that, and it started to wilt, and basically I put it out on my balcony and forgot about it. That is what I do like in the spring and summer if I don't necessarily care for a plant anymore, or it's giving me a lot of drama and I'm over it. I will just take it out to my balcony and forget about it. Just like not water it, just out of sight, out of mind, right? So that's what I did with the remainder of the croton, what have you, and yeah, it died. It died. So number one on my list is crotons. Number two on my list is going to have to be the Dracaena plants. So I've owned two Dracaena plants, I believe, and one of them was actually going by the name of a lucky bamboo, and it did look similar to a lucky bamboo, but I think it was a Dracaena. I'm pretty sure it was a Dracaena. But like the stalks kind of resembled the lucky bamboo, which may actually be a Dracaena. I'm not sure. So I had two. That one is one of those plants that I just left out on my balcony. I actually didn't hate the plant. It was an easy plant, but I didn't really care that much about it, and I just kind of left it out there and forgot about it. And when I remembered to check on it, it had already turned brown, and that was that. But I do still have one of my Dracaenas, and I do love this plant very much. I've had this plant for over a year now. When I got it, it was very, very small. And this is the Dracaena Florida Beauty. And I've actually cut this plant back a few times now. Like I said, it was very tiny whenever I got it, maybe like a 2-inch pot. It was getting pretty leggy. That's the one thing about the Florida Beauty. It will, as you can see, get leggy after time if you don't cut it back. So I have cut it back a couple times. When you cut it back, like give it a couple weeks and you will have new growth popping up everywhere in this pot. Like, it's amazing. It has been a super easy going plant, and I really like this plant. The last time I cut it back, it gave me new growth everywhere, and it's just been growing since. Now, when I was dealing with bacterial issues, I did mix up a rubbing alcohol water solution, and I sprayed it on a bunch of my plants. Like, I went into freak out mode, and I was just like spraying my plants with everything, which don't do that. You should not do that, by the way. But a couple of them did not respond very well to that, and it showed on their leaves, and this was one of them. So you can kind of see like it burnt some of the foliage on a few of my plants. Not very many were affected, but a few of them. And basically most of the bottom leaves, I guess I really went to town on the bottom leaves on this plant, but they were affected, so I removed those burnt leaves. But this is new growth and it all looks good. So, but as for all of there's many varieties of Dracaena plants, and I honestly just don't care for any of them other than this pretty little guy right here. The foliage just isn't attractive to me. I don't know, they're just kind of plain, in my opinion. If you love them, more power to you, no offense. I probably should have added a disclaimer. If any of the plants that I mention you love, please do not take offense to this, because I mean, this is just my personal preference and opinion. We all have one, so just throwing that out there. But yeah, I would not go out and buy a Dracaena. When I see them in stores, I don't even really stop and look at them. I just don't care that much for them. But I do love this Florida Beauty Dracaena. So next on my list would have to be the Elephant Bush Succulent. So I think these plants are really pretty. I think they're a really pretty variety of succulents. They're just really cool looking. I own the regular green variety and the variegated elephant bush. I can't remember the actual scientific name of them right now. And I killed them both pretty quickly. And I really didn't neglect them. I mean, I didn't think. But for whatever reason, they just don't like me, and I killed them both pretty quickly. So I probably, after I kill a plant so many times, that kind of makes me like, okay, I probably just shouldn't own you, because I'm just done at that point, you know? So yeah, I have been tempted to pick up one at like big box stores when I see the big full plant since then, but I just haven't done it, and I probably won't, because I have slaughtered two already. Next up is going to be the, believe it or not, don't shoot me, Dieffenbachia or dumb cane. I do not hate these plants. I have two in my collection now that I love. They're doing well. But if you remember in the video I did of plants that I was struggling with, I had a really pretty, quite large Dieffenbachia that I cannot remember the name of. I never actually knew the name of. I told you guys how bad I was struggling with it. It just kept having yellowing on the leaves, and well, that plant ended up having the bacterial infection, turns out, and I'm pretty sure that's what part of what was happening with that plant. But another thing that I know for sure with Dieffenbachia is that they're really thirsty. Most of my plants I let dry out pretty well and they're fine, and then I'll give them a water, you know, and they're good to go. But with Dieffenbachia, I have noticed if you let them go completely dry, they will drop a leaf or two. And I've noticed that with all 3 of my Dieffenbachia. They got the slightest bit dry, which this one actually is, and I just watered it yesterday, but it's in a tiny pot. So I'll have to water this tomorrow or I will have a yellow leaf. But yeah, if you let them dry out, they will drop leaves on you. And I mean, like I said, I really like these plants, but I don't think I'll be purchasing any more in the future. I basically am content with the 2 that I have. I'm very happy with these 2. These are my favorite varieties of Dieffenbachia, and so I don't really feel like I need any more in my collection at this time, if you know what I mean. But this one here I absolutely love. This is the Dieffenbachia Reflector. I may or may not, I think I did an unboxing for this over the summer, I'm not sure. It was like early summer, and when I got it, it was tiny. It was the tiniest. It was, shoot, what's it called? It was a plug. That's what it's called. Yes, I purchased it as a plug. So it was tiny. It had a couple itty bitty little green leaves. It didn't even have the reflective patterns on the leaves yet. So like, let me show you an older leaf like these, but they were smaller. It was just so teeny tiny. It was adorable. And as of recently, it has given me some of, this one being the most prominent, some of those beautiful reflective leaves that we love, that I've been waiting for. So I'm really proud of this plant, and I do really love it. Like I said, I do really enjoy Dieffenbachias. I just don't want any more in my collection, and I have struggled with them definitely in the past. Well, this is my other Dieffenbachia. Oh gosh, I'm jumping rocks everywhere. And I don't know the name of this one. This is a pretty typical one that you will find in big box stores, but I think it's very beautiful. I got this one as a teeny tiny little plant as well. You can see the bottom is pretty bare, and that is just from losing leaves, from letting this plant dry out, and it will be pushing out 2 or 3 new leaves, and it dries out and they keep coming out, but the bottom leaves start turning yellow and dropping. So it just doesn't like drying out. And this one's the same. It had a lot more growth on the bottoms, but I did lose a few leaves due to underwatering. These are great plants. Overall, they're pretty easy. They're fast growers and they're beautiful, so we won't say that I hate them because I definitely do not. Next on my list would have to be palms. So basically any type of palm tree I really just don't care for. I've only owned, that I can think of, one type of palm, and it was just like the little typical parlor palms. It was really cute and I did like it. I wasn't like head over heels in love, but I liked it, and honestly it is still on my balcony. I should definitely grab it and show you guys. It's one of those plants that I just kind of left outside, and then when fall hit and cold weather hit, I did not bother to bring it back in the house. And it's still sitting out there. It still has a little bit of green on it, believe it or not, but for the most part it is dead. And that's just because I didn't really love the plant, and sometimes I'm guilty. I will just kind of, I warned you in the beginning, okay? I should definitely show you that parlor palm though. But anyways, as for all of the other palms, the only other palm tree that I can think of off the top of my head that I kind of like, it would be a ponytail palm. I think they are really, really cute, but I've come across them many times in nurseries and big box stores, and I've looked at them and admired them from afar, but I never came home with one because I don't really love them enough to bring one home and keep it in my collection. And as for all the others, I just don't like them. I think the big, like, fan palms look really pretty in other people's homes. I think they look really nice. They really give that jungly, tropical jungly vibe to a space, but for me, they take up, the big ones that I actually think are pretty, take up a lot of room, and I don't know. I'm not that into it. So I will probably never own another variety of a palm tree. Next would have to be, you either love them or you hate them. There is no in between. Ferns. Oh my gosh. I do not like ferns, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't. I've honestly never really liked them. I've never liked the look of them. But I tried to own a little cute, dainty, I don't remember what kind of fern it was, but it was really cute and dainty. So I brought it home. I'm like, we'll give it a go. And it like died immediately. I could not keep up with the watering on that plant. I don't know. I don't think it had enough humidity. I didn't have it in a spot near a humidifier, and it just started crisping, and once it started crisping, it was gone. Like one day it had some crispy leaves and I came back and there was nothing but like ash, like a crispy leaf ash pile basically. So I have not and will not buy another fern. I do not like them. Next on this list is going to be the Bromeliad. I hate bromeliads with a passion. I do not like them. I had one about probably a year and a half ago maybe. Like I said, I'll try to insert pictures if I have any left from this plant, but I had a pretty good size bromeliad. It had like the red flower thing, and I really liked it whenever I first got it. I thought it was very interesting looking. My husband really liked it too. He thought it was really cool. And over time, I just fell out of love with it, and I was like, I really don't like this plant. You can't tell when it's growing. Like, basically, the most exciting part of that plant to me was after I brought it home, I discovered that they have babies, and then like the mother plant kind of dies off, and then you raise this little pup up, and I thought that was just so cool. So I really wanted to get a baby out of that plant, and it didn't happen quick enough for me, and I actually gave that plant away. One of our friends, Joel, came over to visit, and he's seen it setting out on my balcony. Okay, he's seen it setting out on my balcony. He's like, hey, that's a really cool looking plant. I was like, you think so? Do you think so? Have you ever owned a houseplant, Joel? No. Happy birthday, buddy. He's like, really? It's like, yeah, there you go. He's like, cool. So I sent that plant home with him. Yeah, I don't like them. I think they're ugly, and if you like them, more power to you. No offense, but they're not for me. Okay, we're almost finished here. Next would be ivy. This is another plant similar to ferns. You either love or hate it, and I do not like ivy. I have had probably like 3 in my collection before, and I hate them. I killed them all. My first one was just like your typical green ivy, and it was really pretty, and it grew really, really well for me. It was a pretty happy plant. It did great. Yeah, it did great. And then I went out of town one week and came back, and it was not happy because it dried out too much, and like over half the plant was crispy, and the other half had like fainted and was wilted. I removed like the half of the plant that was crispy, and I tried to revive the other half, but it just never looked the same, and it just looks scrawny, and it was never really happy after that point. So I did end up getting rid of that plant. And then afterwards, you know, I found out that they're really prone to spider mites, like really, really prone to spider mites, and I ended up getting 2 more, some other green variety. It looked a little bit different. I'm not sure what variety it was, but and whenever I got it, I also picked up this really pretty variegated ivy that I found at a nursery. It was very pretty, but it was even more fussy than the green. Like, anyway, I killed both of those plants as well. The same thing happened. They crisped up, and I don't have time for it, okay? So never again. I will not own another ivy plant, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Next to last on this list is, again, don't kill me, I do not hate these plants, okay? And I actually own one, but it is spider plants. This is my cute little Bonnie spider plant, and I love her. She is adorable, and look at these babies. She was just a baby whenever I got her, and she started giving me babies, I think this fall, maybe the end of summer, early fall. Here's one, and then there's like 2 or 3 on this little stem here. And I think she is the cutest little thing ever. And this is the curly spider plant. The Bonnie is the curly spider plant. And yeah, I really love this little spider plant. But this is the only variety of spider plant that I own in my collection, and it's the only type that I've ever owned. So I've never killed a spider plant before, but as for the like regular typical spider plants, I have never had a thing for them. I just don't think they're very appealing to me. They're not very attractive to me. Honestly, to me, they look like grass stuck in a pot. It's just not my thing. I've seen some really massive spider plants before, and they look really cool when they get all these little babies hanging off of them. So I do like to admire them in other people's homes and videos, but just for me personally, I don't think that I will ever own any other variety of spider plant in my home. But like I said, I do love my Bonnie spider plant, and whenever I seen her, basically it changed my whole opinion of spider plants. I was like, because I didn't know there was any that I liked. So when I seen her, I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's curly, she's the cutest thing ever, you're coming home with me. And she's been really easygoing, she's been really chill and laid back, and yeah, I really like this plant. But I'll never purchase another spider plant. I'm perfectly happy with this one. She brings me all of the spider plant joy that I need in my life. Okay guys, last on this list is going to be the money tree. The money tree. Now, with that being said, I do think that the money trees are really cool looking, especially whenever they're braided. I don't know, I think they do look pretty cool, and the leaves are really pretty, but for some reason I've just never particularly been like drawn to that plant. I've never looked at that plant and been like, man, I would like to have you in my home, or man, you know where you would look good at in my living room. It's just never happened for me. I don't think I will ever own a money tree in my home. And the same goes for like the umbrella plants or umbrella trees, the Scheffleras, how do you say it? Scheffleras, yeah, those, the variegated Scheffleras I think are really pretty. Still, for me, it's just not something that makes me like drop my jaw. It's not a plant that I care to ever own in my home, and I probably never will. So that is my list of plants that are currently on my hit list, or that I have either I've murdered them, probably intentionally, or I have owned them and given them away because I just wasn't that into it, or I have never owned the plant, and the reason for that is just because I do not care for the plants. So that is it for this video. In the comments, let me know what plants you have murdered intentionally, or that you will never ever own in your home again, or maybe you've never owned them and you never will. Yeah, let me know. I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks. What are those plants for other people? Any of them that's on my list? Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, nobody hate me if I mentioned your favorite plant in the whole world. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye!